Welcome along to Philippock for this Tenants Premiership clash between Selkirk and Aberdeen Grammar. Both teams have had very poor starts to this campaign, with only one win between the two teams. They both played 6, and it's Selkirk who have got the only win, which they got against Musselburgh, which was their opening game of the season after their opening game was actually called off against Jed. So they've picked up one win. In Aberdeen, they've lost every single game they've played this season, so they've come down to Philippock to try and turn that around and get some points on the board in this campaign. But Selkirk will certainly be looking to put a little bit of daylight between the two teams in the table. Looking at the teams, it's certainly a couple of players we've been drafted back in. We've got Kieran Clark and Callum Marshall from the Super 6, and alongside me this afternoon we've got Graeme Dodds, and those two players in particular will make quite a bit of difference to this Selkirk squad. Yeah, I think they will, Dale. You know, Callum Marshall is a good Selkirk boy as well, played a lot of games down here for the first 15, and obviously bringing that experience back from his 2 seasons in the Super 6. As you say, Kieran Clark in the backs. Really exciting player, not played much rugby this year with the Super 6. He's been on the fringes, and speaking to Whitey last night, and you know, he was just on about having a backline to pick from this week, which was a bonus for him. He's with so many injuries this season, as we've talked about before, but you know, we've got Ross Nixon back and kind of old head in the centre as well, and exciting backline for him today. Up front as well, they've got good expertise, and I think that back row battle this afternoon is going to be vital for Selkirk. Scott McClymont is a bit of an unknown quantity in terms of what other teams look at him, because he's very slight in figure but gets himself about the park. And then we know Robert Cook will run all day, and Ewan McDougall is very industrious at number 8. A very industrious back row as well. But Aberdeen, the side who have travelled a long distance this afternoon to play Selkirk, Tom Applin, the captain in the centre, is a very dynamic runner, but they do have a very good tight head prop in Matthias Schoser, who can certainly get himself about the park as well, the 30-year-old. It's Tom Applin from Aberdeen Grammar is just leading his troops out onto the field. They certainly look like they've woken up from their long journey, probably set off quite early on this morning to get down to Philippock. It's going to be a difficult task for them. Not really been firing this season. They've conceded 234 points, so they've obviously got a leaky defence as Selkirk, and you can hear the applause from the Souters fans as Ewan McDougall leads them onto the park from their new pavilion at the left-hand side. And certainly Selkirk looking like they're ready to go and primed for this battle. It is going to be Aberdeen to get play underway, and Sam Knudsen is going to be the boy to kick us off here at Philippock. 12:30 kick-off. A right-footed start from Knudsen, the 10, and he's sending it long into the 22, which is gathered by the captain McDougall, and he finds young Scott Clark just off his shoulder, and he boots the ball downfield, and it's taken a lovely little bounce. He's just stuck up in the mud there, but it is gathered well there by Corey Buchan, who just finds a supporting runner infield, and it is Knudsen who's offering himself up for a little bit of the dirty, nitty-gritty work there tight in. And Aberdeen looking to just keep it nice and close now and try and control this game from the early set-off and get some field position and try and starve Selkirk off the ball as they just pick and go round the corner, but met with a lot of Selkirk resistance. You can see the skull cap from Callum Marshall just at the guard position, and James Bett on the other side as well, just standing, poaching, ready just to snaffle any runners coming round the side. But it is Robert Cook with his hands in there, and the referee's saying that he's not releasing, so it's a penalty early doors, and it's a little bit of ill-discipline there from Robert Cook. Here's James Bett over on that far side, finds Ewan McDougall from the line out, and they look to try and rumble it up and take it up front and try and force their way into the heart of this Aberdeen defence, and the Mauls twisting and turning, and they manage to still keep it pretty structured over there, managing to keep it assured as they still try and dig the heels in this Clatchy Park, and they're up towards the 22. It's started to splinter a little bit now, but if Selkirk are able to get this ball back, they're in a great attacking position as it's found Clark now, who's got a little bit of support there. Ross Nixon finds Pickles, and Pickles is looking to try and dance and weave his way out of trouble, but he's snaffled by 2 players, and Hamilton now finds Clark again, running out the line, good heads up rugby from Clark, and it's McNeil and Anderson with a little bit of chase, but Scott Clark under a lot of pressure, eyes up rugby, found the space in behind and puts a nice little kick in behind the defence. Yeah, Aberdeen defended that pretty well, and that was the right option for Clark. You know, just put it in the territory game at this stage of the game, get yourself built into the game. You know, put real pressure on this line out 10 yards out for the line. Yeah, Clark is maybe a little bit more comfortable at 9, but he's a really good footballer, got a really good boot on him. So he's been asked to fill in, you would say, just now at the 10 position, but he's looking very controlled and assured in the 10 jersey. Obviously the loss to the likes of Aaron McComb, shifting Callum Anderson to fullback, but a little bit of pressure from the line out here. It's came back on our Selkirk side, and it's Ewan McDougall now. He's got a little bit of support outside him, but Scott McClymont just runs a little bit over there as now finds Clark, and Clark with the ball out to Pickles. Pickles has got a little gap on that side, he's over the side, it's at the great supporting line. It looks like that's Callum Anderson, and he's going to get the ball down, and it's a good bit of pressure from the line out. The ball goes wide. A great opportunity for Pickles. He found the gap in the defence, gets in behind and uses his hands as well.
Yeah, it's just what we talked about. Put great pressure on the line out, won the ball back straight away. You know, 3 phases and got it to the width. Great hands from the Selkirk back line, and they found the space. And a well worked try there for Selkirk. And if they can just keep playing like that, it's pretty accurate stuff. You know, they're keeping hold of the ball for 4 or 5 phases, and they got the rewards at the end.
Yeah, there's a good mix between the forwards and the backs as Tom Brown retrieves the kick-off that Aberdeen just shoved right down his throat. He makes some good hard yards there as it's set up on a platform for Hamilton with a left-footed box kick. He's going to reach the halfway line, and it is Knudsen who's found a little gap there, a little show and go. He certainly looks a little bit sluggish, but he's managed to make some inroads in the big prop there. Callum Reddish making light work of the defensive effort from Selkirk there as they're up into the 22, and they look to try and strike back straight away. Knudsen again taking the ball to the line. And Aberdeen now looking to try and reply straight away and put the pressure straight back onto Selkirk. And a good run from Reddish as well, but the play's slightly slowed down now as Aberdeen look to try and keep it nice and tight and try and force Selkirk to make an error and find this gap in the defence. But it's standing firm at the moment, the white wall from the suitors here. Philip Hawke looking to try and keep their line firmly shut here as the Aberdeen look to come round the side there, and it's Scott Renfrew now who's working round the corner and trying to take on the Selkirk defence here. And now going good hands there from the prop, but it's been spilled. That was Matthias Schosa who just tried a little quick hands to try and shift the target. Probably right option, bad execution. Certainly they can defend, but there is weaknesses in there, but it's a penalty straight away from the scrum, and the referee is just outlining to Callum Reddish, the prop there for Aberdeen, that he's infringing at the scrum, and quite early to blow off and give a penalty early on there, Kelly.
Yeah, it's a kind of safety aspect as well, but also Johnny will be wanting to set his stall out really early on and what he's expecting, especially from the front row in these kind of conditions. So as soon as the elbow's starting to point down towards the ground, it's a clear indication that prop's got to be pulling down.
It's certainly challenging conditions for the front row just to keep their foot in, but the referee doing well to manage the well-being and safety of the forwards. A bit different to the old days. And it's Ewan McDougall from the line out, and he finds Tom Brown, and it's starting to work its way back to Robert Cook, and now in the hands of James Bett at the back, getting a little tap on the back from Jack Hamilton as it's just turning around the side, and Cook just trying to offer a little bit of support there to Bett at the back, and it's came back on a Selkirk side now as Hamilton is just looking to try and control and slow the game down. And McDougall finds McClymont, who's got his first real taste of ball in hand this afternoon, a very quick back row forward. And Clark now distributing over to the far side. He finds Pickles, and Pickles just lobbing that ball over at the far side. And now it's the explosive Kieran Clark has to just try and do something in a lot of congested space over that far side, but does well to get the ball back as Selkirk look to run through the phases. And they find Callum Marshall, who was almost upended there. You can hear the displeasure from the Selkirk fans, but it came back again. Callum Anderson offering himself up in the wide channels and finds Callum McNeil, and he's bossed off the first man. He's almost bossed the second, and good support there from McClymont. McClymont just pumping the legs up to the 22. He's been rolled into touch, but good play, and you can see the balance there from Selkirk. You can see the balance when they bring Anderson to be a playmaker in these wide channels. It brings the players like McNeil and Clark over on that far side into the game, and they can try and exploit the weaknesses in the Aberdeen defence. And it's going to be a great attacking platform here for Selkirk to try and pounce from and just try and etch a little bit more score on the board. And it's Hamilton now to put the ball in, controlled at the back, almost spilled out there, but it's going to be a penalty. It's taken quickly there by Jack Hamilton. He's used his footwork, he's found a runner there, and Callum McNeil coming off his wing and dives over the line, and that is heads up rugby at its best. Usually 5-0 up, you would see a little bit of control, kick to the corner, but Hamilton and McNeil having none of that.
Well, I think it's a great call there from Hamilton, because you know the 8 forwards from Aberdeen are tied in that scrum from the scrum penalty, so they're not on the field. Quick tap and go, and hit Callum McNeil outside, and he's got really explosive power for a wee lad, and it's really solid and explosive, and you weren't going to stop him for 2-3 yards there.
Right footed kick, and it's looked like it was accurate at first, but it's just faded to the left hand side. But again, we're about 15 minutes into this game, 10 points to the good. You'd say that's a fair reflection of the game so far for Selkirk. but it's going to be a put into the scrum here for Aberdeen, and it's Ali Ade, the scrum half, who's going to be rolling the ball into the tunnel. Squint as always, but that's you're allowed to do that nowadays, so it's going to be reset here from the referee, and it's not something they pick up too much on Kelly, is it? The feeding at the scrum. It's something that, as long as it's behind the first foot of the hooker.
It's something that we do try and keep an eye on, but when we've also got another 16 players that we need to keep an eye on, and everybody knows props never behave themselves when they're going into a scrum. So as long the new law states, as long as the scrum half inside shoulders in line with the middle of the scrum, then as long as the ball is contestable is the word. That's
fine. That's we'll see if this one is contestable. It's the same for both sides. I'm not just picking out Aberdeen here, but Ali Ade has got to roll the ball in, and now he gets the referee gets it reset there, and he just chucks it into the scrum, and it's came back, and it's Applin now who's been asked to try and punch the ball up into midfield, and it's come round there as well, and it's another good take there by Carwyn Walker, who's just busting into the channels as Aberdeen try and go back on the far side, and it's been spilt back, and James Bett now getting a boot to ball. He maybe never got the cleanest contact, but a good bit of pressure there from Kieran Clark over that far side. He's been dribbled into touch, and just very sloppy from Aberdeen again, just really not getting off the bus at all.
Not getting off the bus at all, no. I mean, it's just a simple drop pass there from the stand-off, and if they're going to try and get back in this game, they've got to be more accurate than that. But I would say that Selkirk are putting a lot of pressure on defence. They're getting off that line and putting their hits in, and putting Aberdeen under all sorts of pressure. Yeah,
defensively, the work rate off the ball from Selkirk has been really impressive. I think whenever there is a loose ball, there always seems to be more Selkirk players there than Aberdeen, but I think that really typifies the importance and the magnitude of this game. Both teams really hunting a victory for confidence, if not anything else. But a good line out there, good accurate line out, and Clark finds McDougall, who's a typical big lung-busted run, and he finds Clark again off the shoulder of the back row, working it well because McClymondt was there in support, and now Clark, he finds out the back there. Good line from Pickles. Pickles has got the option there, goes inside, great feet from the outside centre, and he's going to go underneath the sticks for a score. Great work from Selkirk.
Just really well executed, Dale. Great line out taken at the top of the jump. Presentation down to the scrum half, along Ewan McDougall, great carry up the middle, offloading to his buddy in the back row, Cook, and then setting it up for there. And it was just quick hands from the Selkirk backs, but really good execution.
Yeah, good when you're coming around the corner. It was good. They were really fixing that Aberdeen defence with passing out the back, and then that abrasive line from Pickles, a really, really good line from an outside centre. It's pretty much what they're there to do. But he still had a lot of work to do when he was in behind the defensive line, just bouncing off his right foot and wrong foot, and Craig Shepherd, the fullback for Aberdeen, and going underneath the sticks. And Clark has got an opportunity now from right in front of the sticks, and you'd be hoping that this would be a little bit easier for him, and it is. That'll do his confidence the world of good as well, as Pickles has got the score. So 15, 14 and 13, so it's Ross Nixon next to get the score according to my team sheet. But a good conversion there from Scott Clark, but 3 tries. I don't think Selkirk could have wished for a better start. Very good work defensively from Selkirk, but from the penalty they've not found touch, and it's been fielded back in field, and it's now Aberdeen looking to try and make some inroads, and it's that man, the replacement, Patrick Ritchie, who's just came onto the game, and he's certainly making an impact, making a good run there, and making some good hard yards. As now it's Scott Renfrew who's got the ball in hand and just trying to make an impact on this game, as Scott McClymondt just wraps up the attacking effort there from Glenn Robertson, the Aberdeen hooker. As Ade now, he's distributing there to his winger Doug Russell, who's back into the squad this afternoon. He was 13 last week, and just a little bit of a reshuffle in the back division, so he's on the wing. But it's now a sloppy bit of play there from Selkirk, off the feet, diving in, and it's going to be an opportunity here for Aberdeen to try and nudge it into the corner, get their arrows right, and put a bit of pressure on Selkirk. Yeah,
but that was better from Aberdeen. They held on to the ball for 5 or 6 phases there, and asked questions of Selkirk, and the answer they got was that Selkirk gave away a penalty. But it's much better from Aberdeen. 17-0 down, but they're getting themselves back in the game. They've got 22 line out here now, just attacking, and if they can do something off this, they'll get their confidence back up.
And it's Ben Ingalls is going to be the man to throw in to the line out. David Changling just having a little word with him, just trying to keep him in the middle of the channel, but Callum Marshall just trying to get his big paw in the road, but not able to claw it back, as McClymondt makes a nuisance of himself at the tail of the line out. And it's worked for Selkirk because they've got the penalty on their side. Good work, good spoiling at the line out to thwart any sort of attacking opportunity there for Aberdeen. Good work up front.
Yeah, it's just exactly what happened in the first couple of minutes. Was a good tackle for Scott McClymont, and then the snaffle over the ball for Ewan McDougall. just exactly what you talked about in the preparation, Dale, was the back row working well, and on a day like this it's all about the back row, and that's 2 good penalties from the back row already for Selkirk.
Yeah, I think a lot of the good play that Selkirk have had this afternoon has actually came from the back row, just to back up our point and validate us saying it was going to be an important area of the pitch. But it's going to be James Bett to throw into the line out. He goes to the tail, and it's Robert Cook who gets across well to get that ball back. Does well in the air as well to give it back to Hamilton. It's came back to Selkirk, and it's McNeil who's getting asked to just mop up the extras as it's bobbled down, and now it is Bruce Riddle who's noticed the danger and just picks it up and goes. And the cavalry arrive there as Scott McClymondt comes to try and clear out, but the penalty is going to be to Selkirk for the effort on the floor, not supporting their weight. And again, just another opportunity for Selkirk to clear their lines and kick downfield. And Callum Anderson, we'll just have a little look at this to see if he can reach his target on this occasion. But he's going a little bit quicker than Aberdeen don't get set, but he takes play over the halfway line. And when there was danger there for Selkirk, they've coped really, really well defensively with it.
Yeah, they have, and I think it was probably, if I was an Aberdeen player, I'd felt that was a bit of a harsh call there. I thought Selkirk were a wee bit slower to the breakdown there, and Aberdeen were in quick, but referee saw it differently from where he's standing. He's a lot closer than us, and as you say, Callum Anderson had a chance to clear the lines and they get into the Aberdeen half again. Yeah, a good kicker,
Callum Anderson. He's obviously missed his arrows with one, but Hamilton now, he finds Clark, who's got McDougall again, and now it's found McClymondt, who, you know, he's quite slight in stature, but he's certainly dynamic and explosive when he's got the ball in hand. And now it's Marshall looking to try and make his impact on the Selkirk season and his return from the Super 6 campaign with Heriots. But he's almost coughed up possession there, but it's came back on a Selkirk side, but the referee indicating that there's going to be another penalty here, and Aberdeen get an opportunity to kick downfield. But you would say the last maybe 5 minutes has been a little bit sloppy from both sides?
Yeah, I would say it's gone a bit scrappy in the last 5 or 6 minutes, and you know, Aberdeen have kind of worked their way back into the game a bit and putting a wee bit more pressure on Selkirk and forcing a few errors. And
I'm going to ask you, Kelly, if it's when games get like this, obviously the referee has to manage it, but it's a lot of player ill-discipline here is making it scrappy. The referee can't really have much of a say in getting the tempo up, can he?
No, he kind of just needs to play what's in front of him, to be honest. If it's slow, it's slow. If it's quick, it's quick, as long as he's there when the play happens.
And Ben Ingles now is going to be thrown into this line out. He goes at the tail. It's again very scrappy and loose, and that man Scott McClymondt there again, almost snaffling the ball. I think he almost went in for a second bite of that as well on the ground, but he manages to get himself back into an onside position as Callum Marshall just torpedoes himself out of the defensive line and makes the tackle. And good work in defence again. I think that is Scott McClymondt, but he's offside there. And again, the penalty's starting to tot up. Only one in the first minute from Selkirk, but in the last 2-3 minutes we've had about 4 or 5. And a little bit of ill-discipline here is allowing Aberdeen a sustained amount of pressure inside the Selkirk half. Yeah, it's just, as you say, ill-discipline, and there's really no need for it. You know, with Aberdeen, we can see when Selkirk know exactly what Aberdeen are going to do. They're going to play that one-out rugby. So just get off your line, get set, and come up and make your hits. And there's no need for all these penalties for Selkirk, and it's keeping Aberdeen in the game. It's a very tenacious back row, Scott McClymondt, but you can see he's almost a bit too keen to try and stamp his authority on his on the opposition there. He's doing well in defence, but just encroaching the offside line there as Aberdeen throw into this line out, and it's clean this time as they try and set up the maul. Selkirk looking to try and meet it with a little bit of resistance, but Aberdeen doing well to try and keep it cohesive, and it looks like it's well structured at the moment as it encroaches towards that 5 metre line. Still short the line there as the referee is going to say that's been defended well by Selkirk. A put into the scrum, and again when Aberdeen are in an attacking position, Selkirk with their backs to the wall come up trumps. Throw into the line out is met at the back there by Callum Marshall, again showing his excellent skill set, the big utility forward, if we could call him that, but it's been shovelled out there, and Nixon trying a cute little chip and chase on this side, and it's been caught by Carl McNeil. He's going to chip and go as well over his opposite man. Is the bounce of the ball going to be kind for Selkirk? No, it's not on this occasion. It's been fielded well there by Nathan Brown, but good play, good heads up rugby again from Ross Nixon, who's been quite quiet in this game, but certainly introduced himself well there with a very deft cut kick over to this far side. And Aberdeen now have got to try and attack from deep. And it's going to be Selkirk and Hamilton again to roll the ball into the scrum. A nice secure line out is dipped there. The referee going to give the penalty to Aberdeen this time for an infringement from Selkirk in the front row. So Applin, the captain, right-footed kick. It looks like it's accurate. The flags go up and the captain gets his 30th point of the season. A successful penalty, and Aberdeen are off the board now. And both sides now coming together. The referee, Johnny Perriam, having a good look over that scrum, and it's successful on this occasion as it found Addy there, who's just tried to burst the ball out, but that's a huge hit on Doug Russell there in midfield, just stopping his momentum dead. And there was no entry at that door for the Aberdeen winger as Aberdeen look to try and come round the side now and try and get a little bit of structure and momentum to their game, as the hooker now, Glenn Robertson, is tasked with trying to secure the ball. And now Schuster has found Ross Nixon, and that's a pace that I think Nixon will be very happy that he's being charged at, because Schuster is certainly not the quickest over the field, but he's a very big prop, a dynamic runner as well. But the ball has came back on Aberdeen's side, an opportunity there to offload Knudsen, just running the tight line, but the offload, it never came, and it's been brought down to ground again as Aberdeen are just going through the phases here and looking to keep it pretty structured and secure up front. As they go blindside now, there's space over on that far side. It's loose, it's went to the foot there as Aberdeen have brought it back, and it's came back on the Aberdeen side again as play gets pretty scrappy over on that far side. An advantage to Aberdeen now over there as they try and encroach on this Selkirk defensive line, because so far they've not really looked like scoring a try, but this is the closest they probably came all afternoon. As they try and pick and go round the corner. Again, good resistance there from the Selkirk defence as they charge the pick and go back a couple of yards as they come round the corner as Aberdeen look to go again. And again, just keeping it upright now as Selkirk, I think, have perhaps held that upright, looking to try and make an effort, but they splintered round the side. Aberdeen look like they're getting closer to the line, just short on this occasion, and if they can get quick ball, you'd feel they might squeeze over, but they don't need the quick ball. Pick and go round the corner, and they're over the line, and that's good play there from Aberdeen. Good persistent play, and it's something we've not really seen from them so far this afternoon.
Yeah, really good disciplined attack there from Aberdeen, you know, mixing up well when it was on to ship it one wide for the ruck. They did that, and really powerful play there, because Selkirk were pretty well set in defence, and it took two faces off the side of that row and maul, and Aberdeen crashed over.
Yeah, they were persistent, and it looked like it was good defence, but they just got that, you know, that little bit of panic in the Selkirk ranks, which splintered it slightly, which allowed the opportunity to pick and go round the corner and get that score. And you said it only a couple of minutes ago, Graeme, the next score is vital, and it's went Aberdeen's way 17 points to 8. And you'd imagine Tom Applin is going to add the extras. One successful penalty from a similar position further out, but it's certainly a kickable conversion here for the Aberdeen captain, and that would take it to 17 points to 10. A bit of work to do here. It is successful, and it is the last score before half time, and what an important score that might be from Aberdeen, because at the break it's 17 points to 10 in Selkirk's favour, but a game that looked really, really comfortable for Selkirk after about 20 minutes is now a bit touch and go. Callum Anderson, he's going to get play back underway as the referee, Johnny Perriam, is just having a little chat with everybody. Time back on, and Anderson gets us back underway with a high competitive kick here, and it's been gathered well there by Aberdeen, by Tom Morris. Aberdeen had a replacement in the second half. Scott Renfrew has left the field injured, so they've brought a replacement on. And it's been charged in well there from the ruck. It's been gathered on the wing, and it's a little bit of sloppy play. The referee's saying that's going back, but it's got a little bit loose here as Selkirk look to try and do what they did in the first half, put a bit of pressure on the defensive exit here from Aberdeen as they try and steady the ship. As Selkirk look pretty set, Callum Marshall just loitering behind the ruck there as Selkirk hold firm round the fringes, as it looks like it's going to be Ali Addy to go in there and try and get the ball downfield. Another charge, and it's Marshall with his mitts on that, and McNeil now getting the ball back, and it came to McClymondt, just knocked forward, but good competitive play at the breakdown there. Good charges from the ruck, and Aberdeen finding it difficult to try and clear their lines. Yeah,
really good work. The nine's not got much protection there for his box kicks, and Callum Marshall came round the side and got the charge down twice. And good from Selkirk point of view, kind of gone back into the first 20 minutes of defence and not giving away these silly penalties, taking the back foot, not competing so much on the deck, and forcing mistakes from Aberdeen.
So it is going to be Ritchie now to roll the ball into the scrum in the front row, looking to put a little shunt on there. Celtic look like they've got a bit of go forward, but it's been gathered well there at the base, and it's going to be Applin, the captain, has to just bundle the ball up. A big player to try and bring down. He's maybe not the quickest over the field, but it takes a couple of charges to bring him down to earth there, as Marshall puts a lot of pressure on the box kick again. But Hamilton, doing really well under the high ball. He just kept his eye on that, didn't really have to jump, and it just clutches the ball there as McClymonds offers himself up over on that far side to try and carry the ball, and just trying to make a nuisance of himself and fight to the ground. And Selkirk look to try and go through the phases. Marshall with a little show and go, offloading there to Petty off the floor as they look to try and get a little bit of momentum into their attacking play, as Clark with his impeccably clean shirt finds over on the far side. He's got Anderson now, who's beat a couple of players. He's been bundled down to the ground now, but makes some good inroads as Selkirk start to make some headway in this Aberdeen defence. But Aberdeen bursted out the line there, a knock on, a possible interception there for Aberdeen, but just not being able to clutch it. But Selkirk making some good yards from some good play, encroaching into this Aberdeen 22. Yeah,
they've started the second half really well, Dale, and they've gone back to what they were doing, in the first half to get their 3 tries, and keeping hold of the ball really well, getting it into that wide channels, and using the good backs that are out there waiting for it. And unfortunately from them, the Aberdeen man came through and knocked it on, but at least Selkirk have still got the attacking scrum.
Hamilton is going to have to, first job, get this ball to the foot. It's now at the back of the scrum, and it's been picked over that far side by McDougall, who's not got a lot of quick support there, but they do arrive eventually for Selkirk. And they come back on this side as Riddle now is looking to try and set a platform up again for Selkirk to try and pounce from. As now Clark has got a few options there. He hits out the back to Nixon. Nixon's got a couple of options out the back there as Bullman looks to try and take the ball up and get his first introduction to the game. Applin's over the ball, but he's been well cleared off there, and that is I'm not sure, I'm not an expert on the laws, but they look like a ruck there, and the Aberdeen player just pouncing on the loose ball, because it did start to fragment slightly at the breakdown. When we get Kelly's opinion on that shortly, but Pickles now finds a little bit of space. It's not the tidiest of kicks, but that'll probably hold up in this clatchy ground here, as it's went over the line there, as Aberdeen look to try and play from their own 22. Kick downfield, don't clear far. But was that an opportunity for a penalty there, Kelly, perhaps for Selkirk?
No, to be honest. The way that Bullman was holding the ball out, it was beyond the back foot of the ruck, and therefore it's deemed as the ball's out. So Aberdeen were well within their right to come and pounce on it. What he needed to do is kind of keep it close into his chest and just kind of keep it tight and let the guys kind of dictate how far back the ruck's going.
That is an excellent explanation of that, because I thought it almost looked like there was a ruck that broke up, but that makes complete sense now, as James Bett now has got to throw into the line out, and he meets his target at the tail there, Ewan McDougall, and he's looking to just go straight forward, not looking to set up the ruck, just ducking the shoulders and trying to puncture this Aberdeen defence, as Bett now looks to try and drop the shoulder and barge his way over the line. And now Nixon in the familiar one out at the 12, looking to try and make some inroads. He gets caught, isolated, they cough up possession, Aberdeen get the penalty, and maybe a bit too keen to try and distribute the ball to the centre there.
Yeah, that's just playing exactly into Aberdeen's hands there. I know I would have got that out the back. I mean, great carry from James Bett to start. I'd bring another forward round the corner and then create the space for the wider boys, and I think Ross Nixon came on that short line, decent enough carry, but it was, as you say, just isolated, and Aberdeen defended it well and snaffled over the ball and got the turnover.
I think if you put the ball in the bread basket for Nixon for 80 minutes, he'll carry all day, but if the support's not there, it's going to be difficult to retain that ball, as sloppy exit play there from the penalty for Aberdeen comes back on a Selkirk side, and it is now McNeil who's got the bounce of the ball here. It looks like it's going to come back on a Selkirk side, a little bit of aerial ping pong between Aberdeen and Selkirk, but it's a knock on put into the scrum for Selkirk, and something out of nothing. McNeil putting boot to ball, and the conditions coming into play as well, as the ball gets held up slightly on play on the 22, and it's an opportunity here for Selkirk from the scrum.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a kick actually from Scrappy there, but the bounce of the ball, and as you say, in a day like this with the way the pitch is, it nearly came off for them. But if you're kicking down these 15-metre channels, you want to really be kicking into the corners to force territory, to force them to play it out and win an attacking line out. But a good opportunity here for the scrum.
And it's going to be Hamilton to roll the ball in just inside the Aberdeen 22. Still 17 points to 10 here at Philip Hawke in this, you could almost call it a basement battle between Aberdeen and Selkirk. That's a successful put into the scrum. It's going to come back on a Selkirk side as McDougall looks to get a big paw out there to try and fend off the challenge from the Aberdeen back row, and it comes back on a Selkirk side, and Hamilton finds Bet, and Bet's put the ball back. It was a bit scrappy there, but it came to Anderson. Anderson's got some options. He looks to try and chip. It's not the best executed, but Clark is going to scoop the ball up one-handed. A very good all-round rugby player, Scott Clark, doing well there to sweep up the ball. And it's Jack Hamilton now finding Bruce Riddle, and the calls for offside from the Selkirk supporters. I don't think it's influenced the referee, but Nixon just knocking the ball on, frustratedly kicks the ball, and even that wasn't too bonny either. But it's going to be a penalty to Selkirk. I don't think he'll mind, he'll get away with that because they've got the penalty there. Clark just couldn't find touch there from the penalty, and it kicks downfield, and it has been retrieved well by Petty. He's got the legs pumping, and you can hear the crowd getting behind him as they try and inject some life into this Selkirk play, because they've been certainly very flat for the last 20 minutes or so, the tail end of the first half and the start of the second, as they spread the ball wide. And it's a scrappy ball there from Ross Nixon, but it's gone over that far side for Billman. Billman's got an opportunity here. He's kicked downfield. He's going to get held up in the scrappy ground here, and he puts a little bit of pressure on the Aberdeen player who's got back. He's not made much of an effort to try and get back on his feet, and Selkirk welcome an opportunity to get back inside the Aberdeen 22. Good play there. The ball from Nixon wasn't the bonniest pass in the world, but it worked out really well for Selkirk as Billman made a good contribution there over that far side, as Aberdeen now have got to try and come out of their own 22 and kick downfield. And it's well covered there. Anderson in the open field there has found McNeil, and he's got oodles of space to work with. He's trying to go straight up the guts, and he does that, and he's been charged down by 3 defenders. Quick ball here on this side as Betts found Anderson. Anderson's got Clark outside him. They could draw the men. They've got Pickles over here. Pickles is trying to make a nuisance of himself. He's been dragged into touch, but a little late hit as well has found Anderson in all sorts of pain on the ground. The physio's on quickly to try and tend to him, but that's what you want to be doing, drawing the players in, try and get try and get that space and make the defence do the work.
Yeah, much better from Selkirk, holding on to the ball. That's the key thing for them. When they hold on to the ball, they look good, and cutting these unforced errors out, and Selkirk are right back in the game. They've got a line out, fair enough, it's Aberdeen's ball about 10-15 yards out, but if they can put real pressure on, if they can get Tam Brown and Ewan McDougall and Callum Marshall up in the air here and try and get the turnover and try and get this important score.
And Liam Buchan is going to enter the game, as is Josh Welsh, who's going to be replacing Scott Clark by the looks of things. So there's going to be a slight little reshuffle. You would imagine Welsh would go to fullback with Anderson slotting in at 10. Clark's had a very good afternoon. Apart from a couple of misses to touch, he's certainly played well and directed things well, especially in the opening 20 minutes. But it's an opportunity here for Welsh to get some game time under his belt, and it gives Anderson an opportunity to try and dictate play from fly half as Aberdeen hit their target at the line out there, and they're starting to charge this forward. Reddish just trying to say that Luke Petty's in an offside position. The assistant Colin George was certainly having none of that. The forwards just trying to gain a small advantage up front as Aberdeen bring that to ground now and look to try and gain some sort of momentum and some sort of a strategy here to exit their own 22. Again, Selkirk found quite far on the side. Again, Callum Marshall getting those go-go gadget arms up and fielding the box kick, but he seems to be able to do that every time. Yeah,
if I was the 9 for Aberdeen, I'd be pretty disappointed. You've got to have those support players in front of you just to block the Callum Marshall, and as you say, these big long range arms coming through, and that's 3 times in the second half.
Yeah, you need to be picking round the corner and bring him into, make him defend and get him into that tight situation. But there's 3 occasions here he's been able to get his mitts to the ball, and again in the line out making a nuisance of himself, Callum Marshall, and he finds his mucker McDougall, who finds McClyman. So all linking up well there, and it's came back on a Selkirk side as Hamilton looks to find Brown, and he's done well to gather that at his ankles, and it's came back on their side as Hamilton's just trying to direct play and get his players round the corner, working hard off the ball. And it's Cook now who's going quite lateral, but he straightens up and he makes some good yards in field there. And Hamilton looking to recycle again. He's found McDougall, who's just dancing and weaving and trying to make some sort of inroads, but he's not able to there. A little bit of an effort there from Aberdeen at the ruck, putting Hamilton under pressure. But it's now Anderson. Anderson finds Brown. Brown out the back there to Nixon now. He just passes the ball just in front of Pickles. There's been 2 balls from Ross Nixon that we've not seen go to hand, and you know, he's maybe not at the races today because we've seen a couple of unforced errors from him.
Yeah, it's not like him because that was on as well. You know, out the back twice. Good hands for Tam Brown out the back to Ross Nixon, and it was on wide to Anderson. But unfortunately, it wasn't. Not the bunniest pass for Ross Nixon, which is not like him because he's a very good ball player.
So we've got Forrest, Anderson and Rennick entering at the same time. So Cook, Brown and Riddle are going to be the men withdrawn from play. It's certainly a big round of applause there for Robert Cook, one of the, I would say, a fan favourite here at Philippock. He's a very likeable fellow. He's had a good afternoon as well. We're getting one of his first starts here. His starts are few and far between for Robert Cook, but he's certainly taken his opportunity here this afternoon, Robert. A good performance, but you can bring some good players on as well. So it's kicked downfield from the 22, and it's going to be Callum McNeil, and he passes the ball infield to Welsh, who finds his target in Anderson, and they're just shipping the ball along. And now Nixon thinking, I'm not passing on this occasion, I'm just going to tuck it up the jumper and try and take it forward, and he does just that. Makes a good platform there for Selkirk as Bet now again. He's been really industrious in open play, and he's ran a lot, and that's a good option from Anderson. Just put the ball high, and Petty has got his running spikes on, put under a lot of pressure. The ball's loose here, and it's Marshall who's got the ball, and he tries to offload, but it's well back and defended there. An opportunity for, but that shows the work rate from Petty as he just hunches down, maybe to just suck in some air and get some oxygen back in his lungs. But you can see how his running spikes on there, puts a bit of pressure on the fielder. I
think he must have seen a butcher's pie in that 22-yard line. He fairly took off when he saw that ball coming, but he ran too fast, and he missed a loose ball on the way back because he was motoring on. But no, it's good to see from a prop forward, 60 minutes into a game, and he's still got that amount of life in him. He's they've had a lot of scums today, so he's been working hard. Yeah, definitely. I think I'll give him another 40 minutes and he might have reached the 5 metre line. And Jack Hamilton's going to just put it in here. I'd imagine that we're going to see a bit of Ross Nixon here, at least trying to fix the defenders as Selkirk could get a little bit of go forward in the scrum. This is marching forward slowly but surely. The front row's starting to pop up. The referee's only going to have one option. It's going to be a penalty to Selkirk. The referee there, Kelly, he's only really got one decision when the scrum's getting charged back like that. It's going to be a penalty all day long. Yeah, especially when Aberdeen started kind of turning and feeling, and then the front row obviously popped up just under the pressure for Selkirk, because technically Selkirk could have pushed that right back to the try line if Aberdeen stayed straight, but the fact that they peeled it round, the front row popped up, he was given no option. Yeah, no option at all, and it's going to be Callum Anderson to try and make amends for his earlier miss. It was, you can hear the importance of this kick because it is eerily silent now at Philippock, as Callum Anderson with a left-footed kick just outside the 22, 15 metres in from the sideline here. Left-footed strike, and that one looks like it's going to be bouncing off the stick there. It's now loose, it's now in play, and Aberdeen have got to try and field this, and now is the radar certainly not on for the kickers this afternoon for Selkirk. Count that, 10 points missed from the boot. That would be 27 points to 10, but as it stands, 17 points to 10 in Selkirk's favour as Aberdeen kick from deep inside their own score area. I think on a dry day, firm ground, it's a bit easier for the kickers. It's difficult kicking conditions. I know Callum Anderson is a very good kicker, as is Scott Clark, but obviously today's one of those days, conditions come into play, and it's going to have a big say on the outcome of this game as Big Peter Forrest just gets really his first hand on ball this afternoon. Is Bet now, and certainly not his first time with the hands on ball this afternoon, as he goes again round the corner and dictating play there. Hamilton just wrapping round, finding out the back. It's Callum Anderson. Anderson finds Pickles. Pickles has got an option here again. Gets on the outside now. Welson's got an opportunity, and McNeil is going to go in the corner for a score. Excellent, well worked score there from Selkirk. Good direction from Hamilton, just bringing the players into play. Hard work in the forwards, industry in the backs. That's an excellent score from Selkirk. Great score, Dale. I mean, it was great work for the line out. Took a good clean line out. 3 phases in the forward and get it wide at the right times. That's the important thing. Pickles hit a really good line. It was easy just to put that through the hands there, but he actually hit the line first, made the kind of half break, offloaded to Josh Wells. Perfect time for the pass from McNeil in the corner. That's 2 occasions that Pickles has went through the gap and had the hand there, and the players have actually ran through, the supporting players have ran with him and went in behind, and that's 2 scores have came from it, and that is that's the bonus point.
The certainly game's not dead yet. 22 points to 10. It's still a tight affair here in the Tenants Premiership at Philippock on Borders Rugby TV, but that was a good score from Callum McNeil. I'm sure he'll be watching that back a couple of times because it was a really well worked score from the Selkirk backs, as Callum Anderson's got a harder kick here on the left hand side. He struck it well. It looks like it's had the accuracy, but he likes that post anyways. He's kissed the post twice with the ball. Same stick, 2 occasions. 12 points missed by the boot, but I think they won't mind as they've got the bonus point. They've got the 4 tries. They need to get the win now, and Aberdeen will try and get their tails up, get into the Selkirk half, but they've really not looked like they've been threatening in the second half here. But Selkirk with the score as Knudsen gets a play back underway, and it's big Andrew Rennick to pluck the ball out of the air. As he doesn't have to jump too high, Andrew Rennick, and now Peter Forrest now, the older experienced heads for Selkirk coming onto the field to try and marshal play as the balls went loose there, but Callum Anderson just cool, calm and collected. A crossfield kick, very Finn Russell-esque, but it's found the player there, and McNeil's going straight over the top. Welsh is in support, but again he's going to try and barge his way. Good support there from Pickles now. Pickles putting boot to ball, kicking downfield, and it's been well gathered there by Doug Russell, who managed to get back into the 22. But good play from Anderson, industrious, inventful, innovative, and he found his winger over on this stand side. Really, really good play from the fly half there as he steps up from fullback. And now Hamilton has got to retrieve, and Selkirk are now starting to come into this game and force themselves onto this game, as Aberdeen now have forced the error and going there. Just a tight run there from Aberdeen trying to offload, and it is that man Tom Morris who's finding himself an open play, trying to link up with the other Aberdeen players, but again they infringe. Penalty to Selkirk. They can kick downfield, and it's starting to open up now, and is the game a 12-point margin. This is what Selkirk would be wanting. As I say, now the job focuses on the win and getting the job done, getting the box ticked as they go into a double header against Jed over the next fortnight. So it's certainly a very important, pivotal time in the season for Selkirk if they want to try and claw their way back up the table. And they're starting to claw their way closer to this Aberdeen line, because that maul, the line out very accurate, and it's got a little bit of head of steam here. It's been caught up at the back there, but it's been supported well there. Ball looking like it's trying to be clawed back from Aberdeen, but it's coming back on a Selkirk side as Peter Forrest is just waiting eagerly there to try and take the ball forward. The joiner from Selkirk looking to just bundle his way over the defensive effort, and he does just that. Makes slow and steady yards as Nixon finds himself up at first receiver. It's now found over on the far side. It's the replacement Bullman, who's just come off his wing to try and get involved in the action, maybe try and get a score this afternoon as well. But Hamilton just try to snipe round the fringes and keep the guards alert to try and suck this Aberdeen defence in. And McNeil's been asked to go in at scrum half. He'll be chasing his hat-trick this afternoon as well, as a good line there from Rennick, just knocked back as well, just not able to get the ball to hand. So maybe showing that the lack of having an out-and-out scrum half there at the breakdown. And Andrew Rennick now just offering up himself as scrum half. He's certainly not an out-and-out scrum half, but he does a good job of getting the ball away from at the base there. And Hamilton again just coming round the side and being able to just to work around as the sunshine now starts to just filter down onto the Philippock Park, as Nixon now finds his target in Pickles, and Pickles looks to try and ease his way back in field and get inside of this Aberdeen defence, but he's been wrapped round well. But Selkirk going through the phases and trying to keep it tight, and managed to find McClyment there just on the shoulder of Forrest. And Hamilton now just in the pocket. It looks like it's going to be a crossfield kick, and that is a great option. There's oodles of space over here. McNeil, if that ball sits up nicely, is he in for a score? It looks like he's got in for the score. The referee is going to have a little bit of a timeout and a little word with the assistant referee. I've got a thumbs up here from Graeme Dodds. I think it looked good. You could just see it through the glass, and it's going to be a decision here for Colin George, the assistant referee. Was the player onside when the kick was left the boot of Anderson, and was it grounded well? And the referee now is just going to have a little discussion, some hand gestures there, and the referee is awarding no try, offside from the kick. And it was a great call, a very, very good call, but just in front of the kicker, I think, from the kick there. Is that the right decision there, Kelly? Is that what he's gesturing?
To be honest, it is what he's gesturing. However, if Callum McNeil was in front of the kick, then the penalty should be further up the pitch here rather than a goal line dropout. So I'm not 100% sure why it's a goal line dropout from this decision.
They'll be looking to put a bit of pressure on and really try and march this weak and certainly porous Aberdeen scrum back, and they hold a little bit firmer this time, but it's a go forward there, and it looks like the ball is bobbled loose. It's a try there, and it's going to be Scott McClyman. He gets his score. That's a bit easier for the farmer from Tinnis on this occasion. He dropped a ball over the line against Edinburgh Accies a couple of weeks ago, but he's got retribution. That is put the ghost to bed there, and he gets a score. Snafflin, a typical open side flanker, just snaffling on a loose ball, gets his mitts on it, grounds it, and that's try number 5, and you would imagine Selkirk will look to really push on from here. Selkirk so far this season they've scored 16 tries, so that's them up to 21 now, and the conversion is successful as well from Callum Anderson. As Hamilton just rolls it into the scrum, it's bubbled out at the back, and it is going to be Bullman acting as a playmaker there, finds Anderson just the pass misses out Pickles there. As Welsh dances in field, he's got a little bit of broken play. He's a big guy to bring down. Good offload there for McClyman. He evades one challenge, but he is dragged down to ground. As Hamilton gets the ball away, Marshall now finds himself an open play, and he can certainly link up a great show and go. Good offload, and he's found McNeil. McNeil's got Welsh inside, and Welsh has got some cover in defence. He finds Beck. Great pass inside by Josh Welsh, and the hooker James Beck gets his score over the whitewash there, and we did say it, scrum position there, an opportunity to attack, and Celtic do just that.
You thought it was lost there when the ball went to deck from the Callum Anderson pass, but no, great play round the corner there. Callum Marshall kind of half tackled, got the ball away to Callum McNeil. Perfect option back inside. Josh Wells, support line for a hooker at this stage of the game. Great work for James Beck, and it goes just next to the sticks. What a score for Selkirk.
Great work from a hooker from first phase ball from a scrum to get out from what is the hardest position probably to get out from the scrum and offer himself up in support. That is an excellent run, and it looks like when they're shaking hands down there, they're either really chuffed with themselves, or that is going to be the last play of the game, and that does put some gloss on the scoreboard here. 34 points to 10. They've certainly steamrolled over Aberdeen in this second half, and Callum Anderson will be wanting to try and get the extras here to add some confidence to his kicking game as well, after missing a few kicks this afternoon. He's got one, he's also got a try, so he's going to have the last say in this game here at Philip Hawke to try and add the 2 points to what was an excellent score. And he's just got right underneath it like a pitching wedge. It goes in between the Kinlan, and he gets the conversion as well. 9 points for him this afternoon, which he'll be more than chuffed with, but it is a big win here for Selkirk. They did make hard work of it, going down the tunnel at half time, 17 points to 10 in the lead. But in the end, 36 points to 10 victors in the second half. We've maybe seen a truer reflection of where Selkirk are. Yeah,
I think Whitey will be pleased with that result today. It was win at all costs, and against a, as you say, depleted Aberdeen side by the end of the game. But they'll take real spirit out of what they produced in the first 20 and in the last 20. Really, I think that was their important parts of the game. The middle part of the game was just really, really scrappy, and that's a part of the game they'll have to try and manage a bit better. But the first 20, last 20, excellent for Selkirk.
They run out Selkirk this afternoon. Victors 36 points to 10 against Aberdeen. They put a little bit of daylight in between them and the basement boys, Aberdeen Grammar, in the Premiership, and it's a double header against Jed coming up in the next fortnight, which I'm sure both teams will relish. But that's all from us here on Borders Rugby TV. Thank you for watching from me, Dale Clancy, and Graeme Dodds and Kelly Mitchell. We'll see you again next week.
Selkirk came, give them credit, they threw the ball around in what we expected to be pretty rough conditions. Their set piece had the ascendancy in the first 20 minutes. I think we made a few tactical decisions in the first 20 minutes. We weathered the storm, we're still in the game. I felt the second 20 minutes of the first half, we were right back into it, really made a game of it, and then second half, I don't think we came out the sheds really.
I think obviously the last few weeks has been tough for us. We've had kind of a number of injuries that we've been looking to try and get back. A few of those boys came out the squad today, and we started really well, and it's good for us to get that win, especially with Aberdeen being so close behind us. But no, we're happy with that.
It's hard. I mean, we didn't have much ball. I don't think our set piece fired. When we did have the ball, we were turning it over quite easily. So I think we defended for 65 minutes out of 80 today. You're not going to win many games defending for that long. I don't think we got our half in the second half. It's very hard when you've not got the ball to do much.
First 25 minutes I thought we played really well. We kind of played the game in the right areas. We were getting carries over the gain line, and then I kind of feel sort of last 10 minutes of that second half, our indiscipline allowed them to get their tails up and get into our half. It kind of went in half time 17-10, and they were probably in the ascendancy, but second half down into that corner, it's really hard to get out. So really happy with how that went.
I think we need to take a big look in the mirror. We need to start focusing on ourselves. We need to get boys down training. We need to start working through these patterns. We need to get people back. I mean, we've got a huge injury list at the moment, so every week we're teaching new boys calls because it's boys that didn't expect to be here, boys come back from injury. So I think we just need to stick together, keep going. We're getting better each week. We're starting to improve, but the results aren't going our way, but we'll regroup, we'll stick together, we'll keep going.
The games that we've lost, recently, first half last week was tough to take for us, but we ended up getting a bonus point, and the games that we have lost have been relatively close. So it's good to get tries, it's good for morale, especially tries through the backs, through the forwards, but yeah, still lots to work on for us next week.